The formula for the perfect family is quite simple. Each person in this family has a very important role to play. Let's first take a look at the most important role, the man of the house. As the man of the house, everyone in the family looks up to him. It's a lot of pressure to put on someone's shoulders, but Father's broad, masculine shoulders can withstand it. He starts off the day like any other man. After he yawns and stretches, he leaves the bed unmade to give his dutiful wife something to do. Father then gets dressed for the day. He discards his sleepwear on the floor to once again provide his loving wife with purpose. He then carefully picks out his clothing for work, making sure to pick out clothes that accentuates his masculine body. It's important to avoid anything that may be perceived as feminine. The slightest frill could very well undermine his alpha male status. As he makes his way to the kitchen, Father notices the crucifix on the wall. He gives a quick yet loving nod to our Savior. Remember, the only man that's appropriate for this hot-blooded heterosexual man to love is Jesus. As he sits at the table, he makes sure to give his two beautiful daughters love and attention, but brushes off his athletic son. It may seem harsh, but this indifference will make the boy tough and strong. Father knows he'll thank him one day for shaping him into a stoic man who only expresses himself through anger, as a proper head of the house should. And as for the third, rebellious daughter, it's best just to remember that after the age of 18, she'll legally not be your responsibility anymore. Mother then places her homemade breakfast before Father. Mmm. A balanced breakfast of bacon with a side of bacon. An appropriate meal for the American man. He washes down his hearty breakfast with a glass of scotch, and what's this in his glass? That's right, you guessed it, more bacon. Although Mother's brain is scientifically smaller, she sure does think of everything. Looking at the clock, Father realizes that it's time to leave and start his day at his job, Business Incorporated Trademark. "Goodbye, family. I will see you all for dinner at 6 p.m. sharp," says Father. After straightening his tie one last time, he embarks on his journey to work in order to bring home the bacon for his family. As Father makes his daily commute to work, he mentally prepares himself for the long day. As an alpha male, everyone is expecting big and bright ideas from him. The Johnson account has been hemorrhaging money lately, Father thinks. A worrisome thought, but Father knows his big, superior male brain will think of a solution. Father is not only incredibly brilliant at his job, he's also generous and kind. Father always makes sure to massage the secretary's shoulders. Working a job sure is tough on a woman's dainty body. Isn't Father just swell? While Father is hard at work, let's switch gears and take a look at another role in the family, Mother. The mother, the glue that holds everything together. She cooks, she cleans, she pleases, she cares. Appreciated or unappreciated, these are her motherly duties, and most importantly, her wifely duties. After a long night's rest, Mother dear, in her satin nightgown, takes a big stretch, leaps out of bed, and grabs the iron. Yes, the morning routine, which she is extremely tired of, but she knows that the perfect mother must put her family before herself. Raising 4 children and tending to a lazy, needy husband was never facile, but Mother could never be transparent. After pressing Father's work clothes, she prepares the washroom. Mother is not allowed to be seen without a decent amount of makeup on and a neat hairstyle. Red lipstick is too sexy, eyeliner is too dark. She has to go with a light mascara and a neutral pink lip. As for her hair, she unties her red bandana, takes the pins out that were holding her curls, and uses a cherry-scented hairspray to hold it in place. This is the perfect way to show that she is a demure, stay-at-home mother. Once she is finished, She opens up the curtains, letting in just the right amount of natural light in. Mother proceeds to wake up her husband with a gentle kiss on the forehead. "Rise and shine, honey," she whispers. "I'll have breakfast ready once you're up." Father groans and rolls over. While Father continues to sleep peacefully, Mother heads down to where she belongs, the kitchen. With skill and grace, she whips up a breakfast for her perfect nuclear family. After she feeds the family, they all head out into the world. She then begins her day by cleaning up the mess that was made the night before. After she is finished tidying the house, she takes a short break to look up some nearby sales. It's Mother's job to take Father's hard-earned money and stretch it. Mother's savvy money-saving skills is one of the few advantages to being a woman. Once she has completed marking off the items that the household will need, she sets off into the world to obtain said items. After she has finished running her errands, she returns home, placing everything she has bought in their respective places. She then brews tea and prepares light snacks for her fellow housewife companion. As they sit in the living room, they gossip as womenfolk tend to do.
"Did you hear that Betsy from down the street is contemplating about getting a job as a nurse? It's an outrage that she would even think about forsaking her family,"
says Mother's friend.
"Well, as long as she's not thinking of an unsuitable job for a woman. Could you imagine if she tried to become a doctor?"
The women laugh at the ludicrous thought. Everyone knows the only jobs that are fitting of the gentler sex is being a nurse or a secretary. As Mother finishes her day, let's discuss the next roles, the children of the house. Toss, the brother of the house, is the next leading man. One day, he'll have a house of his own to take care of and protect. But today, he will protect his sisters and his mothers as a growing boy must do. As the only boy of the house, Toss's father must teach him the ways of being a man by ignoring and disregarding him to teach him how to hide his emotions. Men don't need to talk, they just need to know how to bring home the bacon. Toss makes sure he does well in school and sports because a man must be strong and powerful while thriving in school so he can go on to college and work in Business Corporated TM, just like father. He makes sure to take many math and science classes because men are intelligent. Sometimes it can be overwhelming juggling school, but he knows that it is his job to do well and be successful since women can't do the same. Then, after school, Toss goes to football practice. As the quarterback of the team, they rely on him for leadership, much like father. This will give him real-world experience of how an alpha male must be. As a high school boy, dating is the next step as he must also be prepared since marriage will be right after high school. To do this, Toss goes out every weekend without the permission of his parents because boys do not need such a thing to drive to the movie theater. He meets up with his fellow friends where they scout the scene for prospects of future wives. Sometimes he catches his sister, Tori, sneaking out to the drive-in movies with a boy. He watches her go into a different car almost every time, but knows to keep his mouth shut because soon she'll be 18, and Toss must focus on finding a wife. During this time, many men are drafted for the war. As a man and an American, Toss knows that it's his duty to protect his country and his family if he were to be drafted. He makes sure to go on runs every day, lifts weights, and goes to the gun range with father. As a veteran, the father will teach Toss the proper way to shoot a gun as he knows that this is a necessity for all men to learn. As always, the only relationship a man must cultivate with another man is his relationship with God. Every night he prays to God, thanking him for making him a man instead of a woman. He prays that he finds a perfect dainty wife who will care and do everything for him so Toss can just enjoy himself. Camille, the oldest child of the family, has just graduated high school in the spring. As the good daughter she is, she comes to her mother's house every Sunday, where after church she helps make dinner for the entire family. Now, marriage and family is a choice nowadays. Some women could choose to go off to university and become teachers or nurses. but Camille wanted to marry her high school sweetheart, John. The couple has been married for 5 months now, making sure the couple were married before John was deployed to help the war. Now that they have been married for 5 months, Camille and Camille's mother begin to talk about why she has no children yet, and when they plan on settling down to start a family. Camille contemplates the idea of going to college before beginning a family, but her mother looks at her with a concerned look.
Family is what's important to you. If you want a career before your family, that is selfish of you.
Camille knew what she needed to do, especially to avoid a nasty divorce, which were common those days. Marriage is a fulfilling career, one that takes time and effort to mature and grow. Camille makes sure to keep the house clean and tidy, in case at any time John could be brought home. She cared for her siblings as well as her mother did, and helped whenever she was needed. She made sure to write back to John, as who knows how long he could be there for. Camille begins to look at houses, and discusses with her mother the best things to look for in a house. As they look through magazines such as Cosmopolitan and Vogue, they talk about the features of her dream kitchen. She points to lavish cabinets and a new gas stove, something their current house lacks.
How could you afford all these things?
Her mom asks. How am I supposed to fill my urges to shop when the refrigerator can barely hold our milk? The two laugh as they continue looking through the magazine. The next week, Camille comes to her mother's house again for their weekly Sunday tradition. She gossips with her mother, as women do, and she tells her about her marriage struggles with John. Divorce rates have been skyrocketing these days, and the mother doesn't want her daughter to have 2 husbands. Camille tells her mom about their financial struggles and how they must overcome this before they decide to have children. The mother consoles her daughter, reminding her that it's her duty as a wife to make sure her husband is successful in his career. Camille must learn the ins and outs of John's job and make connections so John can thrive in the workplace. As the baby of the family, it seemed as if Taylor could do nothing wrong. With 3 children before her, Taylor's parents worked out most of the parenting mistakes before she was even born. With her first year of senior high starting a few months ago, she still seemed to be full of hopes and dreams and was determined to live up to her parents' expectations. After seeing the struggles Camille was having with her husband in maintaining a proper home, Taylor's mother started having the young teen help around the house more in hopes that she would one day have a successful husband to care for her and her family. After school, Taylor would help with minor chores like cleaning and helping her mother prepare dinner, getting a break only on Sundays when her older sister Camille would come to join the family. Being the youngest of 4, Taylor was always able to get away with more than her siblings were ever able to, seeing as her parents were already drained from their previous children and put less effort into disciplining their final daughter. She didn't receive the best grades in school, but was still able to pass, which wasn't really important in her parents' eyes anyway, since a girl's ultimate goal was to be married and tend to the house and children. The only important grade she could receive from school was from her home economics class, which would teach her the important life skills she needed to be a good wife and mother. Thanks to her lessons at school and from her mother, Taylor was able to cook a variety of meals for the family, and could even knit and sew clothes, a skill that would greatly benefit her once she had a family of her own. Taylor liked to believe that she got along well with her siblings, often asking them questions and trying to spend time with them whenever they were available. Though they never seemed too interested in entertaining their younger sister, when they could be off with their friends and doing other more important grown-up things. It was for this reason that she would become so close to her mother in the first place, and why she was so good at the housework she was being told to do. Being in high school, Taylor recently started to become interested in the idea of dating, and even had a crush on the smart boy from her English class who wrote beautiful essays. But her father made it very clear that he didn't want her dating anyone anytime soon since she was too young, even though her parents had already started setting aside money for a wedding that was several years away and there was no groom in sight. Her mother, on the other hand, seemed to like the boy Taylor described when they would cook dinner together. With a good brain, perhaps the boy would go off to college one day and give his future wife a luxurious life. Even though she is tempted to do as she pleases, Taylor never disobeys her parents' orders. So for now, dating was not an option, even though her sister, Camille, encouraged her to do so anyway so she could be sure to find the perfect man before their parents could start pressuring her to find a husband quickly. While this seemed like a good idea at first, there was still the pressure of following orders. She was only 14 after all. She still had 4 whole years to find a husband before she would start getting pressured to be married. In time, the perfect husband would surely come to her instead. Within this quiet household is Victoria, the middle child of the bunch. They were the quiet one who always did what they were told. Youth behavior was very strict with an endless amount of rules, Victoria noticed. Listen to your parents. Don't talk back. Only wear certain clothes in public. Never mention the sex word. And don't take part in any radical commingling. Then Victoria discovers rock and roll music, which changes everything. She heard about it at school and what it was like, so she immediately buys her first Chuck Berry record. Soon, the lively tunes of Barry, Little Richard, and Elvis Presley can be heard constantly. Her mother and father scold her for taking part in that rock and roll nonsense. Even though her parents and local authorities were doing everything they could to get rid of this music that was corrupting teenagers, it was not a successful endeavor. With every record destroyed and burned, there were more sold and made. With each teen dance shut down for playing rock and roll, another was planned. Victoria and other teenagers alike were growing more bold despite these adversities, or perhaps because of them. Victoria decides to start wearing pants in public, much to the surprise of her parents. "What are you thinking?" her mother exclaims upon seeing her. "Are you trying to get expelled?" This did not stop Victoria, who believes in the radical notion that people should wear whatever they want. Their family does not understand their lifestyle, and they encourage them to focus more on their studies and getting an education, at least until they find a man to settle down with, because of course they most definitely want to marry a man, and could never desire anything else. Victoria knows that they are expected to become more serious about their future, but they would rather enjoy this time of change for teenagers by testing the limits of rebellion. They are seen by her classmates doing this more and more. They go to drive-in movies with their dates without their parents knowing. They chew gum in class. They keep dancing and listening to that rock and roll music. So they do what they can to go against what their parents and other adults have told them about what you should and should not do. Her mother continually tries to guide them towards a different path, one that would involve becoming a wife and having children, since that is the end goal for all women in this current day and age. Victoria nods understandingly during these talks, realizing that while they can enjoy these acts of teenage rebellion now, there is a sad reality that they must accept the role they were given. Sitting at the dinner table, surrounded by their family, while they idly chat about what happened during their day, they think about how they are all smiling on the outside, yet on the inside they are trapped by the pressures of society to look and act a certain way. They are all so desperately trying to fulfill the role they were assigned, which makes the idea of rebelling even more appealing. Given these thoughts, Victoria is happy with the choices they have made to slowly but steadily chip away at the mold that they were shoved into. "Family, I'm home, and I brought bacon," father exclaims.
"There's my handsome breadwinner," mother purrs.
The loving family sits down and begins to say grace. They all contemplate just how lucky they are to be in such a perfect family. Father is a hotshot businessman, mother is a docile homemaker, Camille is married, Taylor is as sweet as apple pie, Toss is a star athlete, and Victoria is going to turn 18 soon. Life couldn't be more perfect for this nuclear family. "I couldn't dream of a more splendid family than this one," father says warmly.
"If only Victoria were not here, we'd truly be the bee's knees," mother says as the family erupts with laughter. Ha 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 ha.
Hey guys, Maybe we truly be the bee's knees if you realize that we do not have to conform to these rigid ideas of what makes a family perfect. Sure, if you like the role that you were given, then go nuts. But for people like me, who do not fit into society's claustrophobic boxes, should not be chastised, we should be celebrated. Being different is what allows us to evolve. I was not born wrong, damaged, or evil. I'm an innovator.
"Hey, son, want to go be a man with me and chop some wood?" says father.
Gee, that sounds terrific.
The men go outside to demonstrate their physical prowess as the women folk clean the dishes.
Oh, Taylor, honey, make sure to turn off the dining room light. We wouldn't want to waste power, would we? Yes, Mother.